All right, let's clap it up. All right, Shalom, Israel. We are the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, since 1969 under Commander General Rahana. And we are here to wake up the so-called Black, Latino, and Native American man, woman, and child. You know, we have to wake up from this deep sleep that we're in and come to the realization that we are God's chosen people. You know, I am priest and officer Nayat, and tonight is Tuesday night Brotherhood class. Tonight we're going to get into Israel's return, because, you know, the Most High, he said he was going to put us in captivity, you know, and he did just that. And he discontinued us from our heritage. And that's why we're just walking around lost and asleep as a people, as a nation. But he also said that Israel will return, you know what I'm saying? Especially in the last days, you know, we will wake up, knowledge shall increase. But of course, we got you know, we still have the Christian church and Catholic church, what have you, out there trying to debunk us, you know, but they can't go up against the Most High, you know. They are nothing. They're peons, you know what I'm saying? They have none. But we're going to get into Deuteronomy 32. And like I said, we're going to talk about, you know, Israel's return. But we're going to go to a couple of scriptures, you know, to find out what the Most High said to Moses, you know, about us going into captivity for not, you know, listening to these law, statutes, and commandments, following these law, statutes, and commandments, you know. But this is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 38. So like at 32, verse 16, started with verse 16. They provoked him to jealousy with strange gods, with abominations provoke they him to anger. They sacrificed unto devils, not to God, to gods whom they knew not, to new gods that came newly up, whom thy fathers feared not. And that's what happened. You know, we were being pretty much persuaded, you know, by these other nations that we're around. We started, you know, just doing their things, you know, celebrating their stuff, just like we are today, you know, celebrating all these pagan holidays, you know what I'm saying? Verse 18, of the rock that beget thee, thou art unmindful, and hast forgotten God that formed thee. You know, just like Isaiah chapter 1, you know what I'm saying? He said, Israel we don't even consider, you know what I'm saying? We don't even think about the Most High. You know, we don't think about why we're in the conditions that we're in as a people, you know. It's verse 19. And when the Lord saw it, he abhorred them because of the provoking of his sons and of his daughters. You know, he abhorred them. He, you know, he hated what they were about. You know, they did their own thing. You know, they wanted to live like heathens, so he treated them like heathens. He put them into captivity. Verse 20. And he said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end shall be. For they are a very froward generation, children in whom is no faith. You know, they're very perverse and disobedient children, generation. You know, that's what forward is, right? You know, and that's what we are. You know, we are so hard-headed. You know, we sit there and listen to other nations, you know, like the so-called white man and stuff, bow down to them, you know, cool and everything like that. But we sit there and fight against each other 24/7. You know. Verse 21. They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities, and I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. Verse 22. A fire is kindled in mine anger, and shall burn unto the lowest hell, and shall consume the earth with her increase, and set on fire the foundations of the mountains. You know, I want to point something out, you know, where it says lowest hell, right? You know, because the Christian church, they taught us, hell is where you got a devil with a pitchfork. You know what I'm saying? But hell is our condition. Hell is on earth. As a matter of fact, let's get that in Matthew chapter 10. Hell is a condition. And it says the lowest hell. So therefore, we got different levels of hell. Let's see. What I said, Matthew 10:28. And here it is right here. Watch. What? I'm about to say, watch this. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 10, verse 28. And fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. Now you just ask yourself that, what is the body doing in hell? I thought it was just, it's the soul. The soul goes in hell, right? You know what I'm saying? But the teacher, the Christian church teaches us, the perverse ways of the Most High, like the scripture says, we don't think like the Most High, nor the Most High think like us. You know what I'm saying? But he can unalive you, he can unalive your soul and your body in hell, which is the earth. Like I said, you got different levels of hell. We got innocent people in jail doing life. They're in hell, knowing they didn't do the crime that they were accused of doing. You know what I'm saying? They're in hell. You got human trafficking, little kids and stuff like that going through. That's hell. You know what I'm saying? That's hell. We got us in the hoods and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Unaliving one another. Not having food to eat. And just living check to check or what have you. And this government is systematically destroying us since we've been here in captivity. Blatantly as at that, and we supposed to turn our heads and not acknowledge it. But we in hell. When can we wake up and just wake up and just enjoy the fresh air, go out and not have to worry about looking behind our backs? You know what I'm saying? Like we are in hell, man. Bottom line. But the Christian church, like I said, they teach us wickedness. They teach us fables. I remember Mike, right? Uncle Mike, right? He's supposed to be a pastor. He sends he gives me a paper, about hell. You know what I'm saying? And it was this individual that, they got a lot of that too. It's like fear mongering and whatever. You know what I'm saying? They like to scare people. They went to hell and came back and told their story, their account and stuff like that, right? So this dude, he goes down there. He goes down there and he says, the only one I remember is John Lennon. He said, you saw John Lennon, burning or whatever like that. And I'm thinking this nigga didn't see Alexander, you know what I'm saying? Like somebody just wicked, Andrew Jackson, you know what I'm saying? A Trail of Tears bashing little babies up against the trees. He didn't see that. He didn't see Hitler or something. He saw John Lennon. I would say he was a John Lennon fan, really. He saw a dude that just sings and more than likely, participate in, the industry that they participate in, you know what I'm saying? But other than that, it's like you go down there. I mean, and he named other people like that, but it was more entertainers than anything. It was like, man, you got Genghis Khan, you got people that just, did some heinous things, you know what I'm saying? Like crazy, but this is who he saw, I thought that was pretty funny, but that's a Christian church though, man. Let me see. Oh, go back to Deuteronomy 32 slot. And where will we verse 23. I will heap up mischiefs upon them. I will spin mine arrows upon them. Arrows is what? It's today it's a bullet spin. You know what I'm saying? Arrows, unalive people, right? And this is what we go through as a people, we steady, if it's not by our own hands, from your brother, from your sister, whatever like that, unaliving each other out there in the streets is from the oppressor. And that's what an arrow is. That's what a bullet is, bullet spin, they hit you, verse 24, they shall be burnt with hunger and devoured with burning heat and with bitter destruction. I will also send the teeth of beasts upon them with the poison of serpents of the dust. And that's literal and because we had what, alligators being fed to alligators. You know what I'm saying? We actually was, they sick the dogs on us, tearing them up. I mean, like there's so many people that actually were unalive with being torn up by dogs, just dogs alone. You know what I'm saying? Just tearing them up. And our alligator bait and stuff like that. That's literal and figuratively, right? And then the beasts are also the people referred to as people. A lot of people don't know that, what I'm saying? When the Most High refers to beasts, so it's the people as well, and this is who, eats us up, and they're serpents, and they of the dust. Serpent, he slither on the dust, right? He just low. He low. He just low. He, what I'm saying? He dirty. You can't trust what you call it, heathen. You can't trust the so-called white man, any of them. You know what I'm saying? Because they are against us. They are confederate against thee. That's what it says in Psalms 83. This verse 25. So like, the sword without and terror within shall destroy both the young man and the virgin, the suckling also with the man of gray hairs. Did they ever show us mercy in this place? You know what I'm saying? With our little ones, with our old people, you know what I'm saying? With our young people. Nah, they didn't show us no mercy. They treat animals better than they treat us. Right? Verse 26. I said I would scatter them into corners. I would make the remembrance of them to cease from among men. You think about it. There's no other nation that was scattered besides the so-called Black, Latino, and Native American man, woman, and child. You know what I'm saying? And made to forget who they were. Everybody, all the other nations, they got their own name. They got their last name. They know we got slave names. You know what I'm saying? They don't fit these curses in this Bible right here. Bottom line. And that's how it's not it's not the other nations. The church came and tried to say, oh, we all one big family, one big melting pot. You know what I'm saying? That's far from the truth. The Most High have one people and one people only. And he's coming back to destroy, he said in Yahushua Mashiach, who the world called Jesus Christ, to destroy this place, what I'm saying, with the sword. He ain't coming to send peace, what they will have you believe. Let's go to Jeremiah 16. It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 16, verse 9. For thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, behold, I will cause to cease out of this place, in your eyes and in your days, the voice of mirth and the voice of gladness, the voice of bridegroom and the voice of the bride. Verse 10, and it shall come to pass, when thou shalt show this people all these words, and they shall say unto thee, wherefore hath the Lord pronounced all this great evil against us? Or what is our iniquity? Or what is our sin that we committed against the Lord our God? Verse 11, then shalt thou say unto them, because your fathers have forsaken me, saith the Lord, and have walked after other gods, and have served them, and have worshipped them, and have forsaken me, and have not kept my law. Verse 12, and ye have done worse than your fathers. For behold, ye walk every one after the imagination of his evil heart, that they may not hearken unto me. The imagination is them doing their own thing. You know what I'm saying? Coming up with their own inventions and stuff like that, their own laws or what have you. Just being disobedient, and that's what man does. They don't want to listen to the Most High. They want to eat what they want. They just want to, and just, like it says, you turn your ear from hearing the law, even your prayer should be an abomination. And a lot of our people are doing just that. They don't want to hear it. They would rather, shut your mouth, man. Just shut your mouth. Don't talk against us. You know what I'm saying? because they rather speak against us, say we teaching lies. We teaching, hey, just shut your mouth. We following these laws to the T. You know what I'm saying? And we teaching our people, to follow them as well. But the Christian church has been teaching us since we've been in captivity. Catholic Church, you know what I'm saying? They're very perverse people. These men were perverse. They're always going to be perverse heathens. They're only about one thing: money and defiling people. Well, that's true. Wickedness. They're only about wickedness. Where we at? Okay. Verse 13. Therefore will I cast you out of this land into a land that ye know not, neither ye nor your fathers, and there shall ye serve other gods day and night, where I will not show you favor. And this is, he was telling Jeremiah this. He told Jeremiah to tell the people that, and it came to pass. That's exactly what happened. You know what I'm saying? Like it was even one time Jeremiah asked Mosiah, he said, man, is that all we are? Israel just a homeborn slave? Like we've been into captivity everywhere, since we've been out, left Egypt and started doing our own things and stuff like that. And the Most High started putting us in captivity. And the last one, he said, y'all gonna discontinue from your heritage and scatter you abroad to the four corners of the earth. But he said he gonna redeem his people too. He gonna bring us back. But you got the powers that be out there, over there, trying to say, the lost, we lost. Nobody know who the lost tribes are. These people are, but that's a lie. They know the powers that be. They know who we are. That's why we've been treated the way we are. You know what I'm saying? All right. Hey, Shalom. Yahba Shimi Al Shah Brakatah. Trooper Izar one in the house. And my mom's, yes, they did treat the animals better than it's a shame. Yep, that's right. It is a shame. What's up, Ma? But it's gonna be a time though. The Most High he gonna bring us back home. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna be able to rest in this place because we can't rest at all. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with being able to rest? These people are on our backs 24/7, man. They failed our kids in school to where it's scary. It's scary now. I mean, what does the future holds? I mean, that's why it's getting close. I don't know how long. I can't call it. You know what I'm saying? But we can see it. He said he's gonna manifest this stuff. You know what I'm saying? It is getting bad. We in the last days. We know that much, but we don't know. It could be 20 years from now, 30 years from now. Who knows? We don't know. Don't nobody know. That's what Christ says. No one, don't even worry about the time. You know what I'm saying? Just keep doing what you're doing with these laws, statutes, and commandments, and live upright. Be righteous. Be perfect. How do you be perfect with these laws, statutes, and commandments? Christian church tell you can't be perfect. That's a lie. All you got to do is do these laws, statutes, and commandments. That's it. Let's see where we at. Let's go to Book of Amos. It's locked. Yeah, take the jacket off. Guess that little heater does work, huh? Start getting hot up in there. This is Book of Amos, chapter 3, starting at verse 1. Hear this word that the Lord has spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, this word Egypt is synonymous with bondage. He brought us up from the land of bondage. Okay. Verse 2, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities. And it's clear. I mean, we can see it. These other nations, they don't go through what we go through. You know what I'm saying? They could come over here and flourish. You know what I'm saying? They just, they're not, we don't see it to where we clearly know what we're going through as a people, man. And we can play dumb all we want. But these other nations, there's a trickle of some that's going to be, retards. It's like, dummies fall into the cracks, and they're, gangsters, and, want to be like us or something like that or whatever, and just down and out. Yeah. But the masses, when you compare the two, you know what I'm saying? We are the tail and they're the head, These, and they worship other gods. They got other gods. Most High, they're not that God. You know what I'm saying? Look, he had a chosen people, and he, because we didn't listen to the Most High, he put us in captivity. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? You think these East Indians are upright? You think these, Asians are upright? You know what I'm saying? These Hamites, these so-called Africans, whatever, they upright? Nah, they do wicked as well. You know what I'm saying? The so-called white man, the devil that the Bible speak of, they're wicked people. You know what I'm saying? You got, man, this is one dude from Cambodia back in the 70s, right? Pol Pot. His name's Pol Pot. Back in the 70s, this dude right here unalived over 2 million, his own kind. 2 million. 2 million in Cambodia, right? You know what I'm saying? 2 million. Just unalived. And you know where he went to school, where he got his education? Through the British. Through the white man. You know what I'm saying? But he did that. And then this shows you too, how heathenistic they are. These fools, they got the skulls on display right now. You could go there and look at all the skulls. Heathens. Just like, you know what I'm saying? But you know what? They could come over here and have a good life. Won't have to worry about this government beating them down. They'll be above us. Think about that. They will be above us. And there's so many other stories. There's so many other stories like that. That's just one that, you know what I'm saying, I remember, I just remember that's a Pol Pot. He unalived his own people, committed genocide. Over 2 million people, just unalive them. Just evil. But yeah, these people, it's like, wouldn't you think you want to just bury those skulls? Why in the hell do you have people coming? Who the hell want to look at a bunch of millions of skulls and stuff like that? Just heathens. That's who. Probably charge you to look at them and shit. I'm gonna pay to look at some skulls. It's crazy. But you got, like I said, look, you got and that's and what did it say? Verse 2. You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities. Who gets punished, man? Who's been getting punished here? Us as a people. You know what I'm saying? You got ICE terrorizing the so-called Mexicans. You know what I'm saying? Like they starting at I think what two brothers got two Judites, so-called black men got unalive. Yeah, they started. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time.
Salafi, I think the general did say that it's going to be Issachar, but eventually it will be Judah as well.
God. That's right. Mm-hmm. Because they're confederate against the nations, the Most High's chosen people. You know what I'm saying? Against us. This is all set up. It's been set up from the beginning of time. We living in a spiritual warfare, man, when it comes to this stuff. Because these heathens know who we are. And they take look, they got back in 1900, right? Do you know they had a mass educational program for Filipinos nurses? You know what I'm saying? The U.S. was teaching them how to do it. Just imagine if they, like they made an effort to do that for us, the people that's been here. But they go to the Philippines, bring them over here and teach them how to be nurses. Why do you think you got so many Filipino nurses in the hospital nowadays? Yeah, since the 1900s, they started training them. Because it was set up. They don't want us to take over because they're what in Obadiah, they're small amongst the heathens. The white man is the smallest nation in the earth. You know what I'm saying? But and that's another reason why you got what do they call them, Hispanics or something like that. They're able, when they go in there and fill out that application, they can say they're white. You know what I'm saying? So their numbers will be up. But yeah, it's crazy. They're the smallest in this earth. you know, and they're doing it one way. They can't even procreate anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, they can, but it's dropping, you know, and that's why in Europe, Planned Parenthood is really Planned Parenthood. They pay these kids, you know what I'm saying? If they're kids, you know, and having children to take care of these kids, you know, to help, you know, have their baby, you know what I'm saying? They get paid for it. They really, because they know they're doing it in a way. That's why you have when they're standing off, you know, the police standing off with a white man. Please, sir, put the weapon down, sir. Like, really? Like, really? Please, sir. We can just have our fists up and we getting unalive. Straight up. Because they're preserving their own kind, you know. You want to say that?
Oh, no, I was gonna say that makes sense and why our laws are the way they are here, where people from our communities can go into Planned Parenthood and unalive their child without their parents' permission, and it's free.
Just like that, because they know what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Margaret Sanger, what she say? She said we like weeds. You know, we like weed because you know weeds just grow. You know, crazy, whatever. I forgot the quote. You know what I'm saying? But she said something like that. And basically, we got to get exterminated. You know, you got to kill the weeds in order for, you know. Bottom line. Yeah. Okay. Let's go to Psalms. Psalms 14. Hey, Shalom. Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barakatah. To priest and officer Imawan. Hey, Shalom, sir. Let's see. Yeah, what I say? Psalms 14.
114?
14.
Oh.
It's 14. Psalms 14. 14 and 7. Now, we just read, you know, that the Most High is going to put us into captivity. You know, we're going to discontinue from our heritage. We're going to scatter us abroad. You know, we're not going to know who we are. But in the last day, he's going to wake us up. You know what I'm saying? And it's his word. You know, his word is it isn't I forget that scripture. It's not, you know, once the Most High says it, it's a done deal. You know what I'm saying? It's concrete. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to go void. You know, bottom line. So this is the book of Psalm, chapter 14, verse 7. Oh, that the salvation of Israel were come out of Zion, when the Lord bringeth back the captivity of his people. Jacob shall rejoice, and Israel shall be glad. You know, and his word is worded like that. You know, bringing back the captivity means bringing them out of captivity. You know what I'm saying? It's just worded like that. You know, a lot of people get that mixed up, but that's what, you know, he's going to bring them out of their captivity. Because we are in captivity today. You know what I'm saying? And Jacob, you know, we are gonna Jacob shall rejoice and Israel shall be glad. You know, because we're not a happy people. You know what I'm saying? We can, you know, fake it like we happy, but we going through it. You know, 24/7 nowadays, especially nowadays, man. We going through, our kids are going through it. You know what I'm saying? We are going through it. You know, even a lot of entertainment, you know, and that's what, you know, our people, like, they show us that we're doing well through entertainers, you know, flashing their money and stuff like that or what have you, you know what I'm saying? So we get hooked on that, you know, we get, you know, lost in the sauce, you know what I'm saying? Led away, you know, led astray because of money. They'd be like, oh, if they could do it, especially look at how easy it is to, you know, just, these fools ain't even saying nothing. You know what I'm saying? They go platinum, they get billions of views and get money and stuff like that. They're not even saying anything of nothing of no substance. You know what I'm saying? Like just dumb music, you know? But it's so easy, and that's a distraction. Distracting who? God's chosen people. You know what I'm saying? So we won't focus on these words, focus on these law, statutes, and commandments. You know, we're gonna be focusing on how to make it big. You know what I'm saying? Look at you know, all the social medias. You know, everybody trying to, you know, go what do you call it, viral? You know, viral and stuff like that, like crazy. You know, these phones are grievous. Bottom line, they are grievous. We got them in our hands constantly, and they're leading us astray and they're keeping us lost in sleep. You know what I'm saying? Let's go to Jeremiah 23. Book of Jeremiah, chapter 23. Okay, this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 23. So it's lucky. Starting at 3, verse 3. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 23, verse 3. And I will gather the remnant of my flock out of all countries whither I have driven them, and will bring them again to their folds, and they shall be fruitful and increase. Verse 4. And I will set up shepherds over them, which shall feed them, and they shall fear no more, nor be dismayed, neither shall they be lacking, saith the Lord. And that's just it, man. We lacking in every category. That's what we do. We lacking. With the youngsters, oh, he lacking. The ops is lacking. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we've been lacking here. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've been dismayed. We've been in fear, 24/7, we just been fearful, looking over our shoulders 24/7. You get to it, when you're a kid, especially a young man, you get to that certain point, man, like you be thinking about death all the time, like 14 years old, you know what I'm saying? Like 13 years old, like that, and you don't have to, live in, the grimiest of the grimy, man. We black, we Latino, you know what I'm saying? It can happen like that, bottom line. We out there just walking around like a deer. So you got to be looking over your shoulders from day one, once you get that understanding of the streets and stuff like that, and look at our women, look at our little girls and stuff like that, man. They can get snatched up. What they doing in the Arab stores now, the little kids going missing, little girls going missing and stuff like that. And they're not only that, they're even getting them pregnant straight up. Go up in them stores and they getting them girls pregnant, man. And then they just bounce out. They can move. They can go somewhere else and start another liquor store. They got another liquor store somewhere else in another state. Arabs, like, these are the people that be, blowing shit up and shit, terrorists. But we so incompetent, we can't run our own liquor stores and convenience stores in our neighborhood. Because it was set up like that. It was set up to destroy the so-called Black and Latino Native American man. And that's what it is. They don't want us to succeed, because they know who we are. They know we are God's chosen people. Verse 5. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will raise up unto David a righteous branch, and a king shall reign and prosper. That will be Yahushua. Prosper and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. Yeah, he's gonna execute all right with a sword. Read chapter Matthew chapter 10:34, and it's in red. He said it out of his own mouth. That's what it indicates. You know what I'm saying? Whenever you see something written in red, it's Yahushua speaking, Christ. Okay. Verse 6. In his days, Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely. And this is his name, whereby he shall be called the Lord of our righteousness. And you keep seeing like shall dwell safely. You keep seeing that. You know what I'm saying? Dwell safely. Fear. You know what I'm saying? They won't fear anymore. They're going to dwell safely. That's us, man. We are in fear 24/7. No other nation is in fear. What's Chinese in fear for? What? You know what I'm saying? Besides them oppressing themselves because they're crabs in the barrel. What's the East Indians? You know what I'm saying? They coming over here just, because they leaving they shit. They can't even take care of their own damn land. They got a trash problem. They don't know what to do with the trash. And it's funny because they don't, they don't believe in the all they have to do, they got a bunch of dogs. Well, Pop said there's a bunch of dogs over there, stray dogs and shit like that. They're not eating the trash. You know what they got to do? Put their money together that they make over here in the tech industries, send it back over there to their country and buy and get some pigs. The pigs don't eat up that trash. And then they don't know what to do with the plastic. Stop buying plastic. Everybody get one cup. Like, drink out of that cup or something like that. Make wooden bowls or some shit. These motherfuckers don't know how to slack it. They don't know how to clean up their trash to where it's a serious problem. Yet they smart to do technology, but they don't know how to do the trash. That blows my mind, man. But at the same time, that's what their fear of. That's what their problem is. They fear for their trash, smothering them and shit. But they don't fear. They don't fear unless their own kind is oppressing them. Their own kind. The Most High said He's going to scatter us amongst the other nations. You know what I'm saying? God's chosen people are going to be scattered. So you got to look at these curses. You know what I'm saying? And put two and two together. No one else fit these curses but us, the children of Israel. And we got our own kind that fight us tooth and nail. You know what I'm saying? Like to say we are not these people when it's right here. It's right here, man. It's crazy. Let's see. Let's go down now. Verse 7. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that they shall no more say, the Lord liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. Remember, out of the land of bondage. We are in bondage again. You know what I'm saying? We're in bondage now. That's what Egypt means. Okay. But verse 8, but the Lord liveth, which brought up and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country and from all countries whither I had driven them, and they shall dwell therein. It's like it dwell in their own land, and that's what's gonna happen, So Black, Latino, Native American man, woman, y'all better get on board, man, because we only, it's like it's high time, to get back up in this. Come back to your heritage. Come back to who you are as a people. You know what I'm saying? Stop being led astray, man, by these wicked people. If you want to live wicked, I mean, the walls are going to close in on you. They're going to close in. You think you're just going to skate by, you know what I'm saying? Like the Most High, knowing you his children, you're his daughter, you're his son. You think you're going to look, these entertainers, you think they want to be doing, you know what I'm saying, that wild stuff? You know what I'm saying? Some of them do. Some of them, I mean, if you Diddy, you know what I'm saying, whatever, But man, them dudes, man, them people, they're going through it. They're going through it, man. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to live like that. You know what I'm saying? But you think you're going to just skate, just have a great life and stuff like that? You know what I'm saying? Like when he says, especially if you're a Christian, when he tells you, you know what I'm saying, your prayer should be an abomination if you turn from the law. You think you're going to be just straight? Nah, man. You're going to go through it. You're going to go through it. Ask yourself, man, why do I go through the things that I go through in this world, man? You know what I'm saying? Because you're not trying to listen to the Most High. He's not with you. Bottom line. Let's go to verse, Sluggy. Let's go to 2 Samuel. 2 Samuel, 2 Samuel, verse 7 of Slakia, chapter 7. 2 Samuel, chapter 7, verse 10. Moreover, I will appoint a place for my people, Israel. For who? Israel. No one else. My people. That word is possessing. My people is possessing. For Israel, my people, Israel. And will plant them that they may dwell in a place of their own and move no more. Neither shall the children of wickedness afflict them any more as before time. That's like these other nations and stuff like that. When you hear about somebody like do some crime or something like that, right? On YouTube, and you read the comments and stuff like that, it's completely the white dude could do the same crime as a so-called black dude, right? You know what I'm saying? The comments are night and day. The black dude, oh, he's a monster. He should go under prison. He's this, as if we started this shit, as if we created this crime and stuff like that. Here it is. We were taught by our oppressor. You know what I'm saying? But the white dude is just like, they don't even, oh yeah, let him go to jail. You know what I'm saying? That's it. You know what I'm saying? Let him go to jail. Man, that was wrong. You know what I'm saying?
It's sloppy. They have a mental problem.
Oh, yeah, exactly. 24/7. Yeah, 9 times out of 10, they have a mental problem. They were mentally ill. You know what I'm saying? But yet we monsters. You know what I'm saying? We invented every single crime. We need to be thrown under the prisons. You know what I'm saying? But here it is. We can sit back and we know why are we doing crime? Because we have another people literally beating us down, oppressing us, so we can become criminals. You know what I'm saying? We just didn't wake up, out of the womb, get up out of the womb and say, "We're about to be criminals." You know what I'm saying? Like, that's it. Man, oppression make a wise man mad. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it's up to the word. Let's see here. So once again, we shall be in our own land and dwell in our own place. Because we need to, man. Like I said, man, how lovely it'd be, man, just to go outside and be like, enjoy the fresh air and just don't have to worry about no damn heathens. You know what I'm saying? Like thinking about you 24/7. They be at the dinner table talking about you. It's like, damn, y'all leading. You know what I'm saying? You the head, we the tail. Why the hell are we on your mind? Because they know spiritually we are God's chosen people. You know what I'm saying? And they flourish. I mean, look, think about this. Look at Mike and Pam, right? With their hair, the hair products, you know what I'm saying? This is $1 billion industry. What was it, Koreans that runs it? Either Koreans or some Asian, you know what I'm saying? But selling selling grease to us, selling hair to us, selling, you know what I'm saying, everything for so-called black people. They're in $1 billion industry selling, and that's how they feeding off of us, man. They feeding off of us here, and here it is. You got Mike and Pam. They open up. I don't even think they was open up for a year. You know what I'm saying? Because their own con was going in there trying to will and deal, and then they gonna mark up their prices. Because where the Koreans are going, where the Asians are going, they're going to their own con. They're going to their own con, making that stuff somewhere. You know what I'm saying? That's how it is. We can't even, look, what? They taking over chicken spots. You know what I'm saying? Like we should have a bunch of big mamas cooking chicken all over this damn place. You know what I'm saying? Like crazy. But these motherfuckers are master chicken kings and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like really crazy, man. We can't even barbecue a barbecue spot. Judah cannot keep a barbecue spot open. They'd be lucky, man, if they depending on where they are and if the food is good or whatever like that. You know what I'm saying? It's situational too. You know what I'm saying? But 9 times out of 10, they can't last that long. Because like I said, Esau gonna be marking, or some other heathen gonna be marking up that meat price. You know what I'm saying? But the Arabs, they could go get meat from their own kind. Asians, they could go get meat from their own kind. You know what I'm saying? And then and they cornering the market like that. But like I said, $1 billion industry, and we can't even do that, selling products to our own kind. We need heathens to come in here and it's crazy. It blows my mind, man. Let's go to Jeremiah 30. This book of Jeremiah, chapter 30. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 30, starting at verse 7. And it reads, at last, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved at the last, saved out of it. Now, who is Jacob? Jacob is the patriarch of the 12 tribes. His name was changed to Israel. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to be saved out at the last. You know what I'm saying? Verse 8, for it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck and will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. There you go. Out. Just like I stated with the hair products. They're serving themselves. They eating, they're sending their kids to colleges, man, off of us, our money. And you know how fast we can just make their stuff collapse if we stop going to them? Stop going to them. Like women start wearing their stuff natural. You know what I'm saying? Stop going to their nail shops and stuff like that. Man, back to Asia you go. They won't be able to survive out here. You know what I'm saying? Bottom line. But they serving themselves off of us, man. You talk about people being destroyed. It's like just look at it like that. I mean, like us going to Asia and stuff like that. We over here selling nunchucks or all kinds of karate weapons and shit and fried rice and shit like that. We just you know what I'm saying? We just flourishing. It's crazy. You can't even fathom something like that. Like crazy, but yet they can do it over here. They come over here and sell this stuff to us, our own products, man. It's selling hair grease, selling weaves and shit. Like crazy, man. It's crazy. Yeah. Hold on. What exactly? So true. The scripture you just read, 2 Samuel 10, is marked in the Bible you gave me. Oh, yeah, probably that black Bible. Yep. I'm pretty sure it is. Because it's heavy. It's a heavy scripture right there. You know what I'm saying? It's about Israel coming back, and we're gonna be able to rest because we haven't been able to rest in this place. We've been miserable 24/7. What did I say? Jeremiah 30? Oh, we already read it. Let's go to verse 9. But they shall serve the Lord their God, and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. Verse 10. Therefore fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, saith the Lord, neither be dismayed, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. And Jacob shall return, and shall be in rest, and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. None shall make him. All the mother heathens will not make him afraid. You got us. You got you got East Indians. You got Asians. They in the judicial system. You know what I'm saying? Giving us life, giving us just like Esau, sitting there at the and we don't get justice. You know what I'm saying? They just, our skin is our sin, man. They see us and they just like, they won't even try. We done it. We did it. You know what I'm saying? Bottom line. You know what I'm saying? They just like, Esau, putting us, the so-called white man, putting us in this system, man. Putting our kids in the school system and stuff, in the juvenile system, juvenile hall and everything like that. I know a buddy of mine, he had wrote a song, right? Sharp, right? Yeah, wrote a song about our children, black and brown kids going to juvenile hall at an alarming rate. You know what I'm saying? Damn Asian cop in San Jose contacted him and said he better shut the F up. Yeah. For him talking about his own kind going through what they're going through. And we got these Johnny come latelys talking about shut the F up. Nigga, how about you go back to where you from, man? You know what I'm saying? We had no choice to come over here, but y'all come over here because you can't even run your own country, man. You can't, y'all crabs in a barrel. You know what I'm saying? Shut up, man. How about you shut the fuck up? You know what I'm saying? Mind your own business. Enjoy being the head and we the tail. Because your day's gonna come. It's lucky for the curse. Yeah, man. Because we know, I mean, and we know the pain. We know the suffering of our kids going through that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Gladiator school, what have you. You know what I'm saying? We know this. You know what I'm saying? We steady crying inside. And you're going to say, shut the F up? Huh. Yeah, you're going to get yours. You know what I'm saying? Not by us, but by Yahushua, Mashiach. He coming with a sword. Bottom line. Talking about shut up. Crazy, man. Let's see. Let's go to Zechariah, the book of Zechariah. The book of Zechariah, chapter 8. Where's Zechariah at? What's up? It's the book of Zechariah. You got it? Chapter 8, verse 13. And it reads, and it shall come to pass that as ye were a curse among the heathen. We are cursed among who? Among the heathen. That's the other nations. Okay. O house of Judah and house of Israel, so will I save you, and ye shall be a blessing. Fear not, but let your hands be strong. I mean, we keep reading it, right? You know, Zechariah, Jeremiah, Amos, you know what I'm saying? Because we all with one accord, we all speak with the Most High. The prophets of the Lord speak. You know what I'm saying? We all speak with the Most High speak. You know what I'm saying? He's the one that gave us these scriptures, right? And they're all on one accord. You know what I'm saying? And and like I said, we are the only people that fit these curses. Bottom line, no one else fit these curses. I remember somebody, Abdul, he was like, who the people, who I think they are, this is way back in the day. He was like, it's the people over there in the Middle East. It's like, they didn't get scattered. They know who they are. They got their last names, you dumbass. It's just because it can't be so-called black people. It can't be so-called Latino people. No, because they look at us as the bottom of the barrel. They look at us as none, but yet they want to be us because we just saw the barrel. You know what I'm saying? And it turns into jealousy and envy, But they want what we want. Bottom line. These other nations, these heathens don't fit these curses right here, man. They don't fit anything in this book. Only thing they fit in this book is being a wicked people against the Most High's children. That's it. Let's go to Micah, the book of Micah. Micah chapter 4. This is the book of Micah, chapter 4, and verse 6, starting at verse 6. In that day, saith the Lord, will I assemble her that halted, and I will gather her that is driven out, that's Israel, and her that have afflicted. You know what I'm saying? That's the other nation that has afflicted us. Verse 7, and I will make her that halted a remnant, and her that was cast far off a strong nation, and the Lord shall reign over them in Mount Zion from henceforth, even forever. Verse 8, and thou, O tower of the flock, the stronghold of the daughter of Zion, unto thee shall it come, even the first dominion, the kingdom shall come to the daughter of Jerusalem. Verse 9, now why dost thou cry aloud? Is there no king in thee? Is thy counselor perished? For pangs have taken from pangs have taken thee, as a woman in travail. Verse 10, be in pain and labor to bring forth, O daughter of Zion, like a woman in travail. For now shalt thou go forth out of the city, and thou shalt dwell in the field, and thou shalt go even to Babylon. That's another name for You know what I'm saying? Confusion. We are living in a modern day Babylon today, the land of confusion. That's what Babylon means, confusion. You know, and you tell me other, I mean, come on, we gotta try to, they're trying to make us acknowledge a boy to be a girl and a girl to be a boy. That's confusion. You know what I'm saying? And we are living in Babylon today and modern day Sodom and Gomorrah and spiritual Egypt, which means bondage. You know, there shalt thou be delivered. There shalt thou be delivered. And we are going to be delivered. There the Lord shall redeem thee from the hand of thine enemies, from the hand of our friends, from the hand of thine enemies. They treat us as such, but yet we still want to hold hands with these beasts. You know what I'm saying? With these serpents. You know? It's crazy. Verse 11. Now also many nations are gathered against thee that say, let her be defiled, and let our eye look upon Zion. The Most High said this. This is in, he said that about the other nations. You know what I'm saying? They are confederate against us. And that's why we're going through what we're going through as a people, man. We got to wake up and see this, Israel. You know? Verse 12. But they know that the thoughts of the Lord, neither understand that they his counsel. For he shall gather them as the sheaves into the floor. Verse 13. Arise and thresh, O daughter of Zion, for I will make thine horn iron, and I will make thy hoofs brass, and thou shalt beat in pieces many people. And we're going to all love each other. All, hold hands. You know what I'm saying? Be one big melting pot. You know? He said he's going to beat in pieces many people, and I will consecrate their gain unto the Lord, and their substance unto the Lord of the whole earth. Say it the Most High. You know what I'm saying? Say it the Most High. What the Christian church say? Oh, that's the Old Testament. That's man. Man is very vain, really vain, because they want to serve their own lusts. You know what I'm saying? They just want to be wicked, 24/7. That's what man does. Okay, let's go to the book of Hosea. The book of Hosea, chapter 3, 3 and 5. Shalom, Yahweh Shamar, Allah Tabai, Simi Yahweh Shai. The water says for tuning in. Hosea chapter 3, verse 5. And it reads, afterward shall the children of Israel return and seek the Lord their God, and David their king, and shall fear the Lord and his goodness in the latter days. That's what's going to happen in the latter days, and that's what's going on now. We rising up as a people, as a nation. You know what I'm saying? And we coming back to these laws, statutes, and commandments, and we trying to wake our people up to come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments. It said in the latter days, that's what's going to happen. But man, Christian church, Catholic church, the powers that be, they say, they ain't coming back. Israel's not coming back. We don't know who they are. Oh, one people, they just happen to be white, Jewish. They can't even call themselves Jew. So they have to say ish. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. But that's the Most High. That's the Most High did that to him. You know what I'm saying? In the scriptures it said, I know them who say they are Jews and they're not, but are the synagogue of Satan. You know what I'm saying? In the synagogue of Satan. We've never been in synagogues, since we've been over here. We've never been calling ourselves Jews since we've been over here. You know what I'm saying? But they have, right? Let's go to the book of Isaiah. And like I said, they, the Christian church, other nations that don't want to believe this, they have every kind of excuse on why this isn't saying what it says, or that's not what it means. Oh, that's your interpretation. They even go that far and say that shit. That's your interpretation. You know what I'm saying? Nah, man, you just don't believe in the Most High. That's what it is. You just evil. You believe in your father, the devil. You know what I'm saying? Which is the white man that the Bible speaks of. He is the devil. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 60 and verse 12. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. Yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. Now, because there's going to be a new heaven and a new earth. You can read that in Revelation 21, right? You know what I'm saying? There's going to be a new heaven and a new earth. And the second is going to be greater than this one, of course. You know what I'm saying? Streets of gold and stuff like that. You know, it's going to be beautiful. You know what I'm saying? And the other nations, they're going to come and serve us. And then you see what he had to say. If they don't come and serve you, because they ain't going to want to serve. They've been the head for the longest time. They don't want to serve us. You know what I'm saying? He said that nation shall perish. He said the kings. We're going to get it further in Psalms 110. You know what I'm saying? These people ain't going to come willingly. And, you know, some of there's good ones out there, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, man, you know, because it's going to be just. Ain't going to be no wicked. We ain't going to be defiling your kids and stuff like that, like y'all did ours. You know what I'm saying? We ain't going to be doing that perverse stuff. And, you know, we be just sadistic motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Like, crazy. And they didn't even have to do what they did. They didn't. They didn't even have to do what they did. You know what I'm saying? But that's why they got, you know, the United States, they got over everyone off of capitalism. That's the only reason why they lead. They were leading for this long. But now everybody, you know, you got Russia, you got China, you got whatever, you know what I'm saying? They catching up to them, you know, with they technology, you know, nuclear, you know, that's how this shit gonna set off with nuclear warfare. You know what I'm saying? Look at what Trump, I think when he was his first term or something like that, he said, "Oh, my button's bigger than yours." He said that to the North Korean dude, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like crazy stuff, right? My button's bigger than yours. You know, just a big child. Just a big child, man. But you know, that's the only reason why they've been, you know, be off of our backs. They've been at the front above all these other nations, you know. But it says, "Shall the other nations shall serve thee, shall perish. If that not serve thee, shall perish. They shall be utterly wasted." This is what it says right here in Isaiah chapter 60. You know what I'm saying? Let's go to Psalms. Let's go get it. Let's go get more. Let's go get more. Because remember, we said the kingdoms, right? Because every China, they got a king. You know what I'm saying? They might not call them, you know, you got prime ministers now, you got presidents and stuff like that, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But really, you know, before you had prime minister, presidents, whatever like that, you know what I'm saying? You had kings, you had kingdoms, and these kingdoms have people, you know, and you know, and these people, man, they devouring the so-called blacks, Latino, Native Americans. You know what I'm saying? Woman and child. You know, they devouring us. You know. Let's go to what's that? Psalms. Psalm chapter 5, chapter 110, starting at 5. The Lord at thy right hand shall strike through kings in the day of his wrath. You see that? He said he's gonna strike through kings. It's lucky. He's gonna strike through kings. These other nations, you know what I'm saying? They have kings over them. You know, we don't sit at that United Nations table. You know what I'm saying? We don't have not one tribe there, not that I know of. You know, it's these other nations. You know, they can fight and all that stuff, but they'll sit at that the United Nations table and talk about us and, you know, ways to keep us down. You know, just like that the nurses, early 1900s. You know, train you know, these people. Like, and you know how they was treating us in 1900s. I mean, look at how they was treating us in the 60s. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. You know, you still had in the South, you still had colors only. You know what I'm saying? Whites only. You know, you had that type of stuff in the 60s, man. So just imagine how they were treating us in the 1900s. You know, but they were going over and getting Philippines and bringing them back over here or whatever, and training them with nurses. And then they treat our own, you know, don't let it be an elderly woman, elderly man, you know, black man. They talk to them like they babies and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? They're not upright. They're heathens. You know, I'm not saying all of them, you know, some of them have compassion maybe, but you know, the majority of them, yeah, they you know, they something else, man.
Mexico is included.
You know, but who's the leader of Mexico? Is she not Spaniard? Yeah, the woman. Yeah, I forgot her name, but she's Spaniard. You know what I'm saying? You see that? Look at what's that? What is it in the West Indies? Trinidad or something like that. Trinidad, whatever. Look who the prime minister or whatever her name is. She's East Indian over Benjamites. You know what I'm saying? She's East Indian. Crazy. And what is it? Trinidad, I think. Trinidad. It's the other one. It's over there.
Trinidad's included.
Yeah, you know, but you know, she was the one that said behave, because they you know, I guess they were having an uproar because of what was going on in Venezuela. What's going on in Venezuela? You know, because it's right there. The little islands are all right there and stuff like that. So they're going through it, and she gonna get up there and say behave, like we little children and shit. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the tribe of Benjamin, right? You know, if I'm not mistaken, you know. But shoot, I'll finish that. Oh, okay. So verse 6. He shall judge among the heathen. He shall judge among who? Among the heathen. You know what I'm saying? He shall fill the places with the dead bodies. He shall wound the heads over many countries. This is what he said. And this is Yahushua. This is Christ coming back. He gonna do this. He gonna do this. He shall drink the brook in the way. Therefore shall he lift up the head. You know, he's gonna do this. He's gonna come back and whip kings' tails. You know what I'm saying? Just because he had to come back and save his people, because the way they doing the Most High's people. He said he was going to put us in captivity, and he said he's going to redeem us. You know? Let's see. Let's go to Matthew. Because let's get it clear here. You know what I'm saying? Let's make something clear. Let's go to Matthew chapter 1. Let's go to Matthew chapter 1. It's all about Israel. No one else. You know, all these other nations got their gods, and they're doing just fine, because what did it say in Amos 2? You know, it's like Amos 3 and 2. You know what I'm saying? I have not, you are the only one I've known of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for your iniquities. That's what it says. He doesn't know any other. He's not dealing with it. You know what I'm saying? He's not dealing with them whatsoever. This is the book of Matthew, verse 1, verse 21. And she, this is talking about Mary, and she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Yahushua, for he shall save his people from their sins. You know, bottom line. His people, that's possessive pronoun. His people. You know, not no God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. No, he wasn't talking about that. He was talking about Israel's world. You can find that in the book of Isaiah, chapter 45:17. He calls Israel a world without end at that. Without end at that. You know what I'm saying? Let's go to Matthew 10, chapter 10. Let's get more of that. And this is Christ speaking right here. Okay, Matthew chapter 10, verse 5. Starting at verse 5. These 12 Yahushua sent forth and commanded them, saying, go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans. Enter ye not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Verse 7. And as ye go, preach, saying, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Can't get around it. He said, don't mess with them Gentiles. Go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. You know what I'm saying? Tell them the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Because from the beginning of time, these nations have been confederate against us. You know what I'm saying? Confederate against the Most High's people. You know? And we got to open our eyes and see this. Let's go to the book of Acts. And this will be the last one right here. This is the book of Acts, chapter 5, verse 30. The God of our fathers raised up Yahushua, whom ye slew and hanged on a tree. Verse 31. Him hath God exalted with his right hand to be a prince and a savior, for to give repentance to Israel and forgiveness of sins. Tonight we just talked about Israel, right? Israel being saved from the other nations. You know what I'm saying? The other nations afflicting Israel 24/7, and that's all they do. All we got to do is open up our eyes and see this. You know, don't get sidetracked. You know what I'm saying? Just because, you know, like especially with the Black Lives Matter movement and stuff like that. That was all fake, man. You know, you see the other people's marching with us and stuff like that. What did it turn into? The LGBT. So, you know, what happened to George Floyd and stuff, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Next thing you know, they over here, you know, gay rights. Like, what happened to us being unalive in the streets, man? You know, just straight slick, man. Just slick with it, you know. You know, they're gonna go out there and, you know, with the Venezuela, they're gonna have their signs and stuff like that. Nah, man, y'all ain't with us like that. You just go out there, you know, it's all deceit. You know what I'm saying? Like war was in their tongue, right? They, you know, in their hearts. You know what I'm saying? Their words are smoother than butter. That's what they are, man. They just against us. Don't get caught up in that you know, thinking they with us and stuff like that. You know. But with that, I want to say Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah Thumb to the brothers, and Yahweh Shamar Allah Thabah Shem Yahweh Shah to the sisters. Shalom, Israel. Excellent.